April is Autism Awareness Month, and we are going to speak to that. But with me this morning is Robyn Edwards, who is a speech-language pathologist and co-founder of TherapyWorks, and we're going to speak about from awareness to action. Good morning, Robyn. Welcome. Thanks for being here again.
Good morning. Thanks for having me
TherapyWorks
again.
is one of my favorite segments because, we get to keep the public updated as pertains to the different things that are available and information, education that is available in regards to disabilities and different levels of, awareness and stuff along that line as pertains to that. All right. So, being aware is great. And, we have seen a number of awareness months pass by and awareness days, and we observe them in many different ways, and you all have been here to share on a number of them. But what is the next step? How do we get from awareness to action?
Exactly. So last month, March, was Down Syndrome Awareness, and we wore our crazy socks, and, it's great. April, we're moving into, I saw you all talk about it a little earlier, Autism Awareness, which wonderful. Awareness is great. Awareness is fantastic. We need to be aware that people are living and surviving and thriving with these conditions. But what else? How do we move from awareness to action? So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. So I have a few tips for the viewers. Step one, don't park in a handicapped spot if you do not have a handicap or a disability.
That's great. That should be straightforward. But even up to last week, going to one of my local hardware stores, and big blue handicap spot with the
wheelchair sign in it.
With the wheelchair sign, everything like that. And then a person drives right in, jumps right out of their vehicle, and then proceed to walk inside.
Yeah, I mean, and handicaps come in a huge range, so I don't want to judge anybody. I don't know what was going on in that person's life.
It was obviously wasn't a physical handicap.
It was not physical, exactly. But generally, that is how it's an easy, simple, conscious way that we can move from awareness to action. We are aware now that disabilities, people living with disabilities exist. Let's give them a little bit of a bly. Don't park in the spots, right? The next step is do some research. You've now heard the words Down syndrome, autism, handicap, disabilities. What do these words actually mean? Do some research. The internet is, it's overflowing.
It's rife with information.
So much stuff. Having said that, once you've done your research, understand that the person living with the disability is the expert. You're not the expert. They are the expert. They're the ones that actually live this on a day-to-day basis. The parents of the children and the people themselves living with it. So, next step, ask questions. Parents of children with autism or any disability, they are much more open and they prefer if you are just naturally interested, as opposed to shushing behind people's backs or passing your own judgments. Ask the question. Be frank about it. If you don't understand or know something, ask. Next thing was birthday parties. So this is actually a really big deal for kids and families with disabilities. Birthday parties tend to be quite challenging.
Okay. Birthday parties for the individual or birthday parties in general?
In general. So not just kids, they want to be invited, they want friends, they want to be around people, their parents want their kids to have friends, but the sensory overload of a birthday party, the extra noise, lots of people, it can be very overwhelming. So, or maybe your kid isn't friends with a lot of people in class, so they don't get invited. Please invite kids to birthday parties. Make some concessions if need be. Maybe a little, 6-year-old with autism, invite him half an hour early. Let him come before all the, happy birthday drama starts happening, so that he's included. It is about inclusion, and we can promote and support inclusion just by making small adjustments. As I say, like inviting them maybe half an hour early if it's going to be challenging. Another thing you can do to support parents or people living with disabilities is offer to go with.
Right.
Go to the dentist with them. Go to the mall with them. Sometimes an extra hand to hold a hand or hold bags is very, very helpful.
A very long way.
And supporting, you know.
Right.
All of these things, you know, teach examples to your kids about teaching inclusion and kindness.
Agreed.
You know, so be the example that you would like to see your kids be.
Yeah, exactly. Lead by example.
Lead by example. And these are some of the ways that you can do that. What else?
You know, and there are a number of things, a number of ways in which we can get into action and not just raise awareness. You know, and you know, I'm thankful for all that you have shared, because again, there are very simple and practical ways in which you can go from that awareness step to that action step. You know, something as simple as not parking in the handicap spot that is clearly labeled the handicap spot, and it's there for a reason. It's there for a purpose.
Invite friends. Oh, another one. If you see a parent with a child who's having a meltdown, who is having maybe a big reaction to something, don't judge, don't condescend.
Right.
Don't immediately assume that it's bad parenting that's causing that.
Right.
A lot of disabilities are hidden. You can't see them, especially in regards to autism.
And you know, it's better to support and offer your support rather than to pass sweeping judgments.
Exactly.
Robyn Edwards, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing again, you know, as pertains to the area of disabilities and whatnot.
Well,
you know,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure having you. So we'll see someone from Therapy Works next week again. All right, so we're going to take a short break and come back with much more. Stay with us.